All right, question for you. Are you an entrepreneur or content creator worried about how the coronavirus pandemic and economic slowdown is going to affect your online business? Or are you going stir crazy? I am a little bit during this self quarantine and looking for some motivation to make the most of it. If one or both of those sounds like you, then today's episode of Solo Show with yours truly is for you. I'll be going over what I'm doing to make the most of my self quarantine, covering my wellness routine, keeping me sane, my financial situation, keeping me safe, and my content creation, keeping me successful. Welcome to Empowerista, a show dedicated to helping you show up and be seen as an entrepreneur. I'm your host, Alex Worley, the CEO of Empowerista, an award-winning producer and national TV host, seen on platforms like Entrepreneur.com, Amazon Prime, and Business Rockstars. These are the tips and truths to amplify your influence and income. All right, how are you? No, really, how are you? It's okay, and you're not alone if you're feeling a little shook up, or maybe a lot shook up. Now, I'm definitely an optimist and believe everything is going to work out, including for you, but I'm also an empath, and it's hard to not internalize what's globally going on right now. The sickness and death as a result of the coronavirus, those in lockdown mode all by themselves, the businesses and their workers financially struggling because of all the closures, and the list goes on. Now, I know you have a big heart, so you're probably thinking about how you can give right now. And thank goodness for people like you, because we need people like you right now. But we also need you to take care of yourself, not only for your sake, but also for the people you help, both in your life and your business. Now, taking care of yourself looks differently for everyone, so I'm simply going to share what has worked for me, my wellness, finances, and content creation. Take what will work for you, feel free to make it your own, and please feel free to leave the rest. Now, when it comes to wellness, maintaining my morning routine has been so important. Now, I sleep with my phone in airplane mode, and probably the most important thing I do is to not take it out of airplane mode until I'm done with my routine. I used to be that person that would scroll through Instagram first thing in the morning only to feel like I was already behind in my day and not measuring up to the curated lives and businesses of the people I follow. And let me tell you, it has been a game changer since eliminating this bad habit. And it's proven to be especially beneficial and important during this global crisis when content is really negative right now, and consuming that first thing in the morning is not the best thing for our moods. And I don't know about you, but I want to set a positive mood for my day. So I wake up, phone's in airplane mode, then of course I make my coffee because priorities. So with a cup of coffee in hand, I journal for about 20 minutes. I don't follow any structure. I simply brain dump. Basically anything that's on my heart or mind, I write about it. And I express what needs to be expressed, both good and bad. I don't judge it. And I frequently end with what I'm grateful for because gratitude just feels good, let's be honest. From there, I meditate for about 10 to 20 minutes. Nothing fancy. I first set a timer, and then I begin to pay attention to all of my senses. So I focus on, what am I hearing? What am I seeing? Yes, with my eyes closed, so I see the dark backs of my eyelids. What am I smelling? What am I tasting? That lingering coffee. What am I feeling physically? Then I focus on my breath coming in and out of my nose. And yes, thoughts pop in, kind of like a car driving by. I notice them. The key I've learned is that it's okay to see the thoughts. The goal is just to not hop in the car and drive it. I just notice the thoughts and I let them pass. I don't let them linger. So when I'm done with those two things, the journaling and the meditation, then I have breakfast. Typically, I have oatmeal with chia seeds, apple, walnuts, and almond milk. And that completes my morning routine. So super simple, but effective. So whatever would work for you, That's the goal. Make it your own. But by being intentional about setting a positive mood, it can make a huge difference in your day, especially when there's a lot of universal panic going on. Now, other wellness things to consider. I know for me, I've stocked up on 2 weeks worth of healthy food in the event that I would get sick. I have a lot of whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and proteins. I'm taking a daily vitamin, drinking echinacea tea, which is good for my immune system. And then my nightly treat has been berries topped with organic whip topping. And I'll definitely be treating myself to a glass of wine or two this weekend. A few other habits I've continued and swear by for optimal sanity: getting enough sleep. I know this sounds basic, but let's be honest. Are you getting enough sleep? This is so important for your immune system and sanity right now. Now, I personally need 8 to 9 hours, and I fall asleep pretty easily. But if you have a harder time falling asleep, I would try swapping out electronics right before bed for more relaxing activities like yoga, reading, meditation, or a hot bath. Next, I am still working out most days. Now, usually I go to fitness studios, so this has been a big adjustment. This is definitely the thing that I miss the most. If I could just step into a hot yoga studio right now, that would be so nice. But instead, since it's not an option to me, I've been doing daily 30-minute workouts that I've found on my ClassPass app. If you are not a ClassPass member, there are so many options available to you, including for free on YouTube. I recommend checking out Pop Sugar Fitness. I've also heard people say a lot of good things about Beachbody and Tone It Up memberships. And if you normally go to fitness classes at a studio, they're probably offering online classes at an affordable rate during this time of closed doors, which would be a great way to support them too. And of course, there is no substitute for a great outdoor walk or a run if you're into that. I don't run. But especially if you can get together with a lockdown buddy and get some fresh air and social time in, keeping your social distance, highly recommend. I've been doing daily walks with my husband, Charlie, and it has been a game changer. Last wellness tip for you: comforts in moderation. Now, the key word is moderation. But during these uncertain times, I'm loving having my favorite at-home comforts to look forward to. I get so excited to wake up every morning simply because I know I get to drink a cup of coffee. Also, I've been watching an episode or two of one of my favorite shows every night. If you need a few recommendations, here are a few of my favorites: Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon Prime, Big Little Lies on HBO, Cheer, Schitt's Creek, and Miss Americana on Netflix, and The Morning Show on Apple TV. So what's something you can treat yourself and look forward to? Okay, let's talk finances. First of all, as Paula Pant said, your 401k is like your face. Don't touch it. And I'll add, the same goes for your IRA and really probably most of your investments right now. I'm obviously not a financial advisor, but here are some ideas that I have for you that have worked for me. It is a great time to have an emergency fund, first of all. Just in case this economic slowdown lasts a while or turns into a recession, there's just peace of mind that comes with having financial reserves. Now, I graduated college in the height of the recession and couldn't get a full-time job for a year and a half. So once I became employed and ever since, I've really valued saving, knowing that wouldn't be the last recession I endured in my lifetime. So Charlie, my husband, and I have enough savings, including an emergency fund, should our revenue be negatively impacted from this time. If you're also covered, amazing. If you're like, emergency fund, I haven't even had a chance to save a next week's grocery fund. I get it, and you are so not alone. A lot of people are in that boat. Now, saving for an emergency fund that would cover 3 to 6 months of your expenses is a good goal to work up to. But if you're simply trying to cover next month's bills, here's what I'd do. I'd know the number I need to make to cover my expenses. That might sound really basic, but think about it for a second. Do you know the number that you need to make every single month to cover your bills?
There's so much power that comes with knowledge. So let's say that number is $3,000. Then I'd figure out the formula that would allow me to make $3,000 and double down on what's currently making me money. For example, if you successfully sell a service for $100 per hour, you need to book 30 sessions to reach that $3,000 mark. I know, my 4th grade math skills are on point. Then write out a list of the needle-moving action items you need to do to book those 30 sessions. A good place to start is asking yourself, how did my previous clients find me? Did they see one of my videos? Did another client refer them? Did I reach out to them via direct message? Know where most of your clients are coming from, because a lot of times we do all these different things to try and get clients when really it's only 1 to 2 to 3 of the things that are paying off and resulting in clients. So once you have that clarity, then get to work, girlfriend. How can you recreate what's proven to attract clients in the past? That's the big question. And then obviously you have to take action on it. Okay, lastly, let's talk about what I'm doing to create content. This one is my favorite. As a content creator, this self-quarantine is giving me more time and less distractions to create content. It's so easy to go down the rabbit hole of consuming negative content right now. And while I encourage you to be in the know and be prepared, of course, make sure you're spending just as much, if not more, energy and time on creating your own content. Now more than ever is the time to show up and serve your online community. It's the best way to create longevity, trust, familiarity, likability as a content creator. So here's how I'm doing that. First of all, I'm working ahead on my long-form content series. Do you have a blog, podcast, video series? If not, now is a great time to start one. In order to truly establish yourself as a thought leader, influencer, subject matter expert, you need to create content. That's your voice. That's your education. It's so important. And of course, social media is a great place to start. But in order to stand out and create next level value for your community and to build that relationship with them, you must start a long form content series. Now, I have both a podcast that you're listening to and a video series. I'm not going to lie, it's a lot of work, especially to do both. So I'd really recommend just starting with one, and then down the line, you can always add a second one. I probably should do a separate podcast on how to decide whether or not to do a podcast first video series. So we'll save that for another time. But just to give you something to think about, I would think about, first of all, what kind of content do you create and what medium would best support that content, and where is your audience? Is your audience into podcasts, or are they more into video content? Now, since I do have both the podcast and the video series, I am thrilled to have extra time to work ahead. So I'm writing, filming, editing, doing all the things now to give me back time in the future when I'm allowed to come out of my cave and enter the real world again and do hot yoga. Okay, next, I'm also finding ways to more consistently serve my community on social media. Every day I try and ask myself, how can I add value to them? Now, I define valuable content as content that either inspires, educates, or entertains. Bonus if you can do all three. Sometimes I'm doing this by simply popping in my stories. For example, I gave you a behind the scenes of my content calendar and process for my podcast. I showed you a ridiculous work from home outfit I was wearing to hopefully make you laugh. And I shared a 15-minute at-home workout that I absolutely loved and got super sweaty from. Now for you, it might be time to update your website, write some newsletters, pitch yourself to podcasts. Only you know what would best serve you and your community. So whatever it is, go do that. Now, I'll leave you with this. During difficult times, it can be really easy to focus on the negative. Now, I'm not suggesting you sweep your feelings under the rug. Please feel your feelings, write about them in your journal, meditate on them when you meditate, but don't lose sight of the opportunities that even come from hard times. It might be the thing that pushes you to create a more sustainable business model, to save up that emergency fund, to start the podcast you've always dreamt of starting. Life is happening for you, not to you. And if you hold on to this perspective, trust me, it's all going to be okay.
Well, that's it for today's show. If you're loving this podcast, don't forget to subscribe so we can meet again next week, same time, same place. Thank you so much for listening and have an amazing week.